We're thrilled to have welcomed our first grandbaby recently. But growing this precious human hasn't been easy on our daughter. The unrelenting pregnancy fatigue really took it out of her.
One thing that helped was keeping her fluids up, and she loved Rehydrate. Rehydrate is an essential electrolyte drink made by some great guys right here in Brizzy. It's safe during pregnancy and breastfeeding and is like a magical little energy and hydration boost for mum and bub.
If you're growing a little human or are just feeling a little run down, grab some at Coles today.
This is the Happy Families podcast with Dr. Justin Coulson. We're Luke and Susie, and this is the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
It's quite interesting because we were driving down our street and our 6-year-old went, "Oh, it's almost Christmas. We're getting ready for Christmas." And he was so excited by Christmas.
Because the house is decorated.
Because the house is decorated. And so, but then on our way home, his 8-year-old brother pointed out it wasn't Christmas decorations, it was Halloween.
It is coming up on Tuesday. Dr. Justin Coulson joining us in the studio. And every year, this question rolls around, do we or don't we Halloween? And there's such a mix of responses out there because it's never, when I was growing up, it wasn't a thing we did in Australia, but as time has gone on, we've kind of adopted it. Is Halloween okay? Do we do it? Don't we do it? What are your thoughts?
Okay, here we go. Number one, I don't have a problem with it, except that it gets my kids all sugared up. They're going around the neighbourhood knocking on strangers' doors, and it's this imported commercial concept.
But other than that,
I'm fine with it. Yeah. Look, there are some people who'll argue from a faith background that this isn't very good. That's a bit of a furphy because, actually, it's not even an American tradition. It's actually from Europe, and it's based on some All Hallows Saints Day. So it isn't actually this devilish thing. In the US, they don't even make it all about devils and ghouls. They make it about just dressing up and having fun. Even though
pumpkins.
Yeah, pumpkins, I know, yeah. Even though I don't personally like Halloween, I love what it does for communities. And my family recently moved from Wollongong. We lived there for about a decade. It was just such a wonderful place to live. And while we were there, we had some friends who put Halloween on big time. And we would go to their place and they would have this massive Halloween party, and it became a great big community kind of gathering. When we weren't at that party, our kids would hang out with their friends from school and they'd run up and down the streets, and any house that was decorated, they'd knock on the doors, and a parent would stand out on the street and wave and say thank you as they got piles of lollies and all that sort of stuff. And what I actually saw coming from Halloween was wonderful. Communities and people coming together and sharing and laughing and knocking on their neighbours' doors. Like, who does that today, right?
Yes, and that was the thing where we were. We moved at the end of last year, but the few years before that, we were in a community that had a lot of young families in it. Many of them went to the same school, and in those few little streets that were one road in, one road out, so that was a very safe area. Halloween was big. And it was a kind of if you have your light on, you can knock on the door. Some people put notes on the door, but they would, because they weren't home, but they'd leave out a bucket of lollies. But it was really big. But it was really big. But the first year I did it, that Luke started doing it, and he would. It was almost like it creates a natural opportunity where we can approach our neighbours and ask them what they need.
This is exactly what happened. So Susie started to basically give me as many kids as they could possibly give me as one adult to look after all of them while they're filled with sugar, which is a great idea. So the mum of some of the kids that we'd invite would hang out with Susie at the house, and they'd be there so that if anyone came to our house. But they had one-on-one. She had one-on-one time with another mum.
Which we never got.
I took all the kids and we had a blast. But then I also took my phone, and every door I knocked on, I introduced myself, I got their name, had a little bit of a chat, and then on that phone, I would just type some notes so I didn't forget. Number 16 was John. John was, and so it just, for me, it was not something I went back to. It was just helped me to remember John at number 16.
Sounds a bit private eye stalkerish, doesn't it?
But he would come home and go, you know what, John at number 16's just had surgery. Do you reckon we could make him a meal?
Yeah, nice.
And just, it was yes, we had a knock and we got the kids. And it's only going to be a quick conversation, but I want to grasp a little bit so I can get to know my neighbour. And that's how I took the opportunity. The kids loved hanging out together. Of course, they loved the sugar, but I got to know my neighbours, and Susie had some one-on-one time with another mum that they didn't normally get.
I don't have a problem with the fact that it's imported. We import lots of things, and that's good. I don't love the sugar aspect, and I don't love the commercial aspect. But beyond that, I think that there are so many great things about Halloween that we should be celebrating and we should be loving it. And from a faith perspective, because I know that there are some people who are very sensitive and even opposed to it, I think that I've got a friend in Melbourne. He runs a big church down there. I ran a seminar for him one time, and just the loveliest guy. His name's Rob Buckingham. And
I love Rob
You know
Buckingham.
Rob.
Yes.
We know, they were, beautiful. We had Christy on the show.
Rob
just
and
recently.
Christy, absolutely top-notch couple. Absolutely love them to bits. And he's written a blog. I saw it on Facebook a few years ago. He's written a blog about it. Now, I don't know what he knows because that's his thing. And I read over it and I was like, yeah, why is everyone getting their knickers in and not about this? If we were going to adopt a tradition, though, I wouldn't have picked Halloween, although I think that it's great. I really do think it's wonderful for communities. I would have picked Thanksgiving. Because I just think we have so much to be grateful for in this country. Our communities are prosperous and abundant, and we even, oh my goodness, even those of us that are doing it tough are doing it pretty well compared with other people in other places of the world. And I just reckon, I don't know if it's end of October or end of November, but Thanksgiving is something that we need more of.
Another opportunity for a big family meal that you can draw others from the community into. Yeah.
I think it's clear we like chocolate more than turkey. It's the message we got out of that choice.
Let's go knock on some neighbours' doors.
This is one of those ones because we often, when it comes to these, when we're anti the commercialism, like Valentine's Day and all these things, we say you should be able to do that every day of the year. And in our relationship, Susie and I can choose to live out Valentine's Day any day of the year.
But often we don't.
No, and I know we don't. That's exactly right. And that's why I don't mind these things, to go, it's a reminder, it's a prompter to go, you've been forgetting this. And so I'm happy to embrace that. The thing is with something like Halloween and knocking on your neighbour's door, it's the only day of the year where everyone's happy for you to knock. Or if they put a sign up to say, leave me alone, or they don't answer the door, that's fine. But if they come to the door prepared, anticipating community. And that's the difference between embracing it on that day. Yes, I can knock on my neighbour's door any day of the year, but this is the one day that actually waiting for me to come.
And it's an opportunity for us to be generous to people who knock on our own door.
Yeah.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Feels good. Dr. Justin Coulson, thank you for being brave enough to tackle a subject that can be a little bit controversial.
We deal with the big issues right here, don't we? I'll talk about Halloween any day over dealing with terrible teens.
Well, for more information on how you can get this parenting thing under control, you can go online to happyfamilies.com.au for more resources there. But if you're interested in having Dr. Justin Coulson speak at your community group, organisation or event, you can find out more about that at justincoulson.com.